Let me thank Lauren and appreciate you all having me out. It's the Houston Young Lawyers Association, right? I think I still fall in that group. What's the age range? Is it up to about 40? Okay, because I'm 39. You know, I'm in this group. I'm not going to lead this group. Look, let me just say thank you for having me out, and you've got some exciting speakers, and it's always good to be Mattress Mac. I will save you money down there on that end. And give that. And look, I cannot even take credit for the things that took place during Hurricane Harvey. I will tell you that I happen to be the mayor of an incredible city with some awesome individuals and people. Hurricane Harvey produced more water in this city than on any city in the country in history. But at the same time, if you just stay there, then you will miss it. Because we had some exceptional first responders, police officers, and firefighters. When I was telling people to stay off the streets, they were on the streets. Literally, they were on the streets. Over 600 police officers' homes flooded, but they didn't go home. They stayed on the streets. And I'll always remember Sergeant Perez, who left his home to go to his command post, couldn't get there, drove around for 2.5 hours, was going to another command post, and then a couple of days later we found that he had drowned. But he didn't go home, okay? Stayed true. There was another individual in public works, person that you probably have not heard about. He had been in prison for over 20 years, in and out of jail for 20 years. Went through our reentry program at the city of Houston, turned his life around. We hired him in public works in May of last year. And then on August the 25th, 26th, one of the nights of the storm, he was reporting to work, called in, told the supervisor, I'm running into a whole lot of rain, a lot of water. Supervisor said, be careful, just get here when you can. And then we found him a day later, he too had drowned. But literally, in and out of jail for 20 years, turned his life around, go through reentry, reporting to work. And what we say is that he graduated with the highest honors. Those are individuals who made the ultimate sacrifice during the storm. So literally, we're standing on their shoulders. Lauren talked about the Northeast Water Purification Plant, the largest that we have, not only servicing the city of Houston, but for the region. They came to me on Monday morning early, said, Mayor, in 3 hours, we're going to lose the functionality of this plant. And we're going to have to give notice to people that have to boil their water, and the water will not be safe. Now, that is a notice I did not want to give when many people's homes were flooding and people were still scared and they're at their homes. And so what I said to them, if you're telling me that you have talked to everybody in the universe and they are saying we cannot save the plant, I will give that instruction. But talk to people not only internally but outside as well. I did have a press conference at 9 o'clock that morning and say to people that our system was submerged. We were having some problems, but I will keep you posted if it gets worse. 3.5 hours later, they come back to me and they said, Mayor, we bought you about another 6 hours. And I said, fine, keep at it. And they were calling people in the private sector as well. And then that next morning, they came to me and said, Mayor, we think we'll stay up for at least another 6 more hours. I said, fine, keep at it. And then they came to me on that Tuesday afternoon and said, Mayor, the system will hold. And that was like a weight that literally came off my shoulder because, for people who were not flooding, they were still relying on the water system. And so it's one thing to have been flooded, but if you're not and the whole water system fails, that's a problem. We had 2 wastewater treatment facilities, plants in West Houston, Turkey Creek and the West Avenue facility. They were totally submerged. We didn't want the system to be backing up into people's homes, but they were totally submerged. And what we ended up doing, as Lauren indicated, is that we put down 4 miles of pipe as a bypass system, and it held. And then we put in some other wraparound bypass system, and it held just at such time that they came from being underneath, and we were able to get them back up fully functional. I want to thank the people in public works, the employees. I want to thank the private sector who stepped up big time. with some innovative and creative ideas and solutions that really kept the city going. Those are just a few examples. And then when we discovered that we were going to get all this rain, on Monday night, the storm hit the south part of Texas at 10 p.m. I was getting ready to watch the news when they said it landed. Friday night was good. Saturday in the city of Houston, we were good. Sunday during the day, we were still pretty good. 5 o'clock, we had a conference with the National Weather Bureau. They said, Mayor, there are 3 bands of rain that are coming into the Houston area. Each one is carrying about 7 to 9 inches of rain. I said, are we saying 7 to 9 inches and 3 of them? She said, yes, there are 3 bands that will be coming in. I knew then that the water that was going to come out of all of the bayous. And we had set up some shelters, 2 of them just in case. One is in the Greens Point area, because in 2016, when the city flooded, that low-lying area flooded, and people were out on the streets, and Bridget said, where's the help? And so when we heard that news, first responders went out to the Greens Point area, started knocking on doors and getting people out and taking them over to the M.O. Campbell Center. We had about 2,000 over a couple of hours getting them out of their apartments and out of their homes. And then the water kept coming, and we needed another spot. And so we quickly opened up the George R. Brown as a shelter. Initially, I told the people at George R. Brown, we need space for about 1,500. And then over about 6 hours, we said, no, up that number to about 4,000 to 5,000. And then by the end of the night, we said, no, we better prepare for about 10,000. And literally, we went over that. That shelter literally was put up in a matter of hours. I want to thank people like Tom McCassin over the Housing and Community Development Division, the Red Cross, so many other volunteers who showed up, and literally they did an outstanding job in setting up that shelter. And literally it was nice. People came in wet. But Houstonians responded in an incredible way. People were coming and they were providing food, and you name it. More clothes than you can get, to the point we had to say time out. Thank you very much. We appreciate it, but no more right now. People came and set up the Children's Center for a whole section down there. It was an incredible event. The point that I want to make is that the storm came, more water than any time in the city's history, but the spirit of the city came to the forefront. The character of the city was on full display. First responders were exceptional. Neighbors were helping neighbors. Good Samaritans stepped up. And the storm did what politicals and people like myself and others could not do. It eliminated a lot of division. Nobody was asking whether you're a Democrat or Republican. Nobody was asking about your social economic status. Nobody was asking whether you were documented or undocumented. Nobody was asking about your religion. The only thing that was important is that if you found yourself in need, Houstonians stepped up to meet that need. My hope is 5, 20, 25 years from now, that same spirit of collaboration, partnership, and unity will still exist in our city. So thank you for just stepping up. An incredible time. The local relief fund raised $112 million. That's in addition to the $37 million raised by J.J. Watts, and another amount being raised by the state of Texas by the governor. An incredible spirit. And then I have to end with this. Astros called them Crane and said, should we play baseball on that Saturday immediately after the storm? And we said, in the city of Houston, we play ball. They came, they played against the New York Mets, double hitter. They won both. And then it didn't stop there. To get past Boston, get past the arrogant New York Yankees, to get past L.A. Dodgers. And in a 7th game, 51 inches of rain fell on the city of Houston. 7th game score, 5-1. It was simply predestined that Houston is a city of champions. Thank you so very, very much.